She was a titan of industry, a CEO who saw people as assets on a spreadsheet, until one night she followed the man who cleaned her office and witnessed a life that dismantled her entire world. What would you do if the person you never truly saw turned out to be living a life that forced you to see yourself? This is precisely what happened to Isabella Vance, a CEO who believed she had conquered everything that mattered. Imagine a skyscraper late at night, a beacon of glass and steel. Most floors are dark, submerged in a silence so deep you can hear the hum of the servers. Before we continue, tell us where in the world you are watching from. Drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoy this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more powerful content like this. The cleaning crew moves through the halls like ghosts, efficient and unnoticed. Among them is a man named Liam Evans. He's unassuming, quiet, the kind of person who blends into the background, pushing a cart with worn-out wheels. Isabella, on the other hand, is anything but invisible. She is a portrait of power, from her sharp designer suits to the decisive click of her heels on the marble floor. In her world, people like Liam were functional, necessary, but ultimately part of the scenery. But one evening, that scenery shifted. Isabella was working late, finalizing a merger. Through her office's glass wall, she saw Liam pause his work. He pulled a small frayed photograph from his wallet and stared at it. His expression, not one of simple fatigue, but of a profound, bone-deep weariness that intrigued her. The gesture was so private, so intimate, it felt like a crack in the corporate facade. The next night, she found herself watching for him. Again, she saw the quiet dignity in his work, and again, she saw that look of a man carrying an invisible weight. Unable to resist, she stopped him as he passed her door. "Long night?" she commented, her tone more abrupt than she intended. Liam looked up, startled. His voice was steady, calm. "They're all long nights, but the work has to be done." There was no complaint in his voice, just a simple statement of fact. He nodded politely and continued on his way. Isabella stood there, a strange feeling unsettling her. She commanded boardrooms and moved markets, yet this man's quiet resilience made her feel like she was missing a fundamental piece of the puzzle. That night, she made a choice. As Liam clocked out and walked into the city at night, she decided to follow him, a decision that would lead her far from her polished world and into the heart of a life she could never have imagined. The night air was crisp, carrying the distant sounds of city life. Isabella kept a careful distance, feeling a mix of absurdity and determination as she trailed Liam. He wasn't meeting anyone in a shadowy alley or doing anything illicit. He simply walked, his pace steady, his shoulders slightly stooped, through streets that grew progressively less affluent. The gleaming storefronts gave way to bodegas with flickering signs and apartment buildings with chipped paint. Her driver buzzed her phone twice. She ignored it. This felt more important than any scheduled appointment. She was no longer a CEO in this moment, but a shadow, drawn forward by a question she couldn't yet articulate. After a 20-minute walk, Liam stopped in front of a modest, aging building with a faded sign that read, "Oakwood Community Outreach." The windows glowed with a warm, inviting light. Isabella ducked behind a parked van, her heart pounding. What was this place? What was a janitor doing here after a full night's work? She watched as Liam pushed open the door and was immediately engulfed. A group of teenagers greeted him with smiles. A woman at the front desk waved. The tired, invisible man from her office was suddenly transformed. He stood taller, his presence filling the room in a way it never did at the firm. He was not just seen here, he was clearly needed. Hesitantly, Isabella crept closer, peering through a large window. She saw Liam kneeling beside a young girl, patiently guiding her through a math problem on a worksheet. He pointed to the numbers, his voice low and encouraging. When the girl finally solved it, a huge grin spread across her face. Liam's own face lit up with a look of pure, unadulterated pride. Isabella instinctively pressed a hand against the cold glass. She had negotiated multi-million-dollar deals that brought her less joy than what she was witnessing over a simple long division problem. Then she saw it. The little girl who ran up and threw her arms around Liam's neck had the exact same bright eyes as the child in the frayed photograph. "Daddy!" the girl squealed, and Liam swung her up into his arms, his exhaustion melting away. In that single moment, Isabella's carefully constructed world began to fracture. He wasn't just a janitor, he was a father. And this was only the beginning of what she didn't know. The next night, Isabella didn't follow him. She drove to the community center herself, arriving just after he did. She walked through the doors, her presence immediately causing a ripple of silence. Liam looked up from a table where he was helping kids with their homework, his daughter Mia sitting beside him. His eyes met hers, filled with a calm question and surprise. Everyone knew who she was. "Ms. Vance," he said, his voice even, "what are you doing here?" Her usual confidence failed her. For the first time in years, the woman who always had an answer was speechless. I saw you last night," she finally managed to say. "I wanted to understand." Liam studied her for a long moment, then gestured to an empty plastic chair. "You want to understand? Then sit." And so she did. Her expensive suit felt out of place, her world of quarterly reports a million miles away. A young boy hesitantly asked her for help with a reading assignment. As she stumbled through the simple task, she felt a connection, a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in a decade. "Why do you do all this?" she asked Liam later, after the children had left and Mia was asleep on a cot in the corner. "You work all night, and then you come here." Liam began wiping down the tables, his movements as methodical as they were in her office. "My wife passed away 4 years ago," he said, his voice quiet. "Mia is everything. I work nights so I can be with her during the day. And these kids," he looked around the empty room, "they don't have much. If I can give them a little bit of my time, a safe place to learn, maybe they get a better chance. What else is there to do?" The simplicity of his words struck her with the force of a physical blow. She had spent her life chasing success, accumulating wealth and power, while this man, with so much less, was building something far more valuable. That night, Isabella went back to her empty, luxurious apartment and for the first time saw it as hollow. The next week, she didn't just show up with an offer of a donation. She rolled out a new corporate initiative, a fully funded childcare and tutoring program for the children of all employees, a partnership that would pour resources into the Oakwood Center, and a significant pay raise for the company's entire maintenance and service staff. She had spent years looking down from her tower, but now, thanks to the janitor she never used to see, she was finally learning to look around.